Hello everybody, this is Global Government News with an article titled Mind Reading Machines, the Next Step If We Accept Naked Body Scanners by Steve Watson from prisonplanet.com and posted on Friday, January 8th, 2010. It is Christmas 2012 and I have a story to tell. 3 years ago, on a cold Christmas day in 2009, a Nigerian national without a passport was aided on board a plane from the Netherlands bound from Detroit by a mysterious sharp-dressed man. The Nigerian had a small amount of explosives in his underpants, which he attempted and failed to detonate. 2 weeks later, the U.S. government ordered the Department of Homeland Security to acquire $1 billion in advanced technology equipment, including naked imaging body scanners for screening passengers at airports, pushing all foreign governments to do the same. Previous efforts to ban the use of such invasive technologies suddenly became secondary to a mass media-driven effort to champion the scanners as a grand solution for future security breaches at airports. Dissenting citizens were told to shut up and get scanned already, and the machines became commonplace by the end of 2010. In all airports, despite fierce opposition from freedom advocates, now everyone, including children, must step through the naked imaging machines, not only in airports, but also other public places, such as train stations, stadiums, and any other large public gatherings. In early 2011, however, the naked body scanners failed to attempt to stop a man of Yemeni descent being escorted onto a plane by another sharp-dressed man in an American airport and attempting but failing to blow it out of the sky. The man said he was seeking revenge for attacks on his country by U.S. military forces. By the end of 2011, governments all over the world had implemented in all public places mind-reading technology, which had been in development since the mid-2000s. Now under something called Project Hostile Intent, everyone is remotely screened by passive cameras that pick up brain waves in order to determine whether they intend to commit violent or terrorist acts. Uh, Almost all forms of liberty have been replaced by a greater need for safety against terrorism, and America has adopted wholesale the Israeli model of security. But alas, now on an extremely cold Christmas day in 2012, I've just read that the mind readers have failed to stop a man without a passport being held on board a plane bound for New York and trying to blow it up. Now the media and the government are calling for traceable microchip implants for everyone. Oh, how I wish more people would have stood up for the freedom-stripping technology in 2010 before it had gotten this far. Coming tomorrow, notes from 2016 on the mass implementation of placing everyone in sealed pods in response to the failed Christmas Day escorted onto a plane by yet another sharp-dressed man bomber. Okay, that's not coming tomorrow, but you get the idea. And this, of course, was not, he wasn't being literal. He was just hypothetical situation. If I guess if Americans keep getting scared and keep accepting these type security systems. I was gonna go to down here where he had a link. Where was it? Project Hostile Intent. Check this. And this is on the register. It was titled Project Hostile Intent Plans Non-Invasive DHS Brain Scan. Not the Mind Probe Again, Officer. My Ass Hurts by Lewis Page. It was posted on August 9th, 2007. It says the great problem besettling the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, DHS, is of course how on earth to spend its mountains of federal pork on vaguely security-related stuff. One approach is to build gear which is only tangentially about security, but which might work. For example, cryogenic superconductor power lines for New York. Another plan is to build something which is silly and unlikely to ever work, but which would be handy for security forces if it did. Handheld Chunder ray guns. Arguably, the DHS tends to go for the latter type of effort more often than not, More evidence to back such an assessment appeared this week as media reports began to circulate regarding the beautifully named Project Hostile Intent. This is not a sinister terrorist plan. It isn't even a double sinister federal conspiracy to create terrorism where there was none before in order to establish a harsh police state. Doubtless as prelude to government by alien invaders. Excuse us while we get on our tinfoil hats. No Project Hostile Intent is supposedly all about detecting hostility rather than causing it, although like many DHS measures, it has the potential for causing a good deal of ire among airline passengers. The idea is that entrance to the U.S. would basically be mind probed by amazing new tech to be developed by the Human Factors Division of the DHS Science and Technology Directorate. The S&T boys swear blind that the technology will be non-invasive. Oh, thank God, and it will identify deception and hostile intent in real time on the spot without ever impeding the flow of travelers. And that, of course, is what they said about the new body scanners. That they say that it actually increases privacy. So I don't know if it's a little double think there, but this will be amazing stuff if it works. Though there could be a bit of a snag with false positives unless they can narrow it down. You need some way of detecting only hostility to the United States rather than, say, hostility towards the DHS, which is common among otherwise righteous and patriotic Americans. As for the deception, you don't want the machinery to start pulling over all the adulterers, advertisers, and copywriters. The DHS chaps themselves are relatively cagey about exactly how their mind reader lie detector gear would work. The idea seems to employ a battery of technologies. Cameras would snap pictures or videos of people's faces, which could then be automatically analyzed for suspicious expressions. Perhaps an anticipatory evil lair or vacant mindless drool at the prospect of finally attacking the hated great Satan. New Scientist reports that this is already done by specially trained human screeners, but that's too manpower intensive and time consuming for widespread use. Apart from the expression scanning, the computers might check for suspicious eyeball movements. Bad guys are well known to shiftily look left and right when worried. There was no word on plans to seize and interrogate anyone whose eyes were too close together, or bald men in wheelchairs stroking fluffy white cats. Other notions might include laser or microwave scans, which could measure how sweaty people's skin was, checking for suspicious heartbeat patterns, or detect other signs of exaggerated fear as they entered the security channel. Incontinence, perhaps? If enough of these tests came up negative, suspicious face, heartbeat too fast, overly moist skin, or pants, the luckless traveler would be drawn aside for more thorough probing, though hopefully still non-invasive. It hasn't been hard to find skeptical Sakuro boffins to rubbish the DHS plans. There could be all kinds of reasons that make people behave in certain ways that have nothing to do with terrorism, according to Anthony Richards, the counterterrorism egghead at St. Andrews University, talking to The Guardian. If you have heightened security and there are a lot of police around, it could be possible that you can feel and look guilty even when you haven't done anything wrong. Do you think? Or you might have done the wrong kind of wrongness. Apparently, the pilot DHS human-operated shiftiness spotting program, screening passengers through observation techniques, SPOT, has been subject to this problem. We have caught a number of individuals from drug dealers to money launderers, and a double murder in one case, the DHS Chris White told the New Scientist, but no terrorists. Even so, Larry Wills, DHS buffoonery chief of Project Hostile Intent, said, the early test results have us cautiously optimistic. Peter McCowan of Queen Mary College in London, a top computer mood recognition man, dismissed this brusquely. And so that's pretty much it for this article. I just want to try to give a link to that article from 2007. Just try to get just a little more background on that. So thank you everyone for checking this article out, and leave comments.